He says I'm live. I wonder how long it'll take for me to show up live on my computer screen here. How are you, folks? It is Wednesday, July 22nd. Holy cow. July 22nd? That means I'm going to be, wow, in a month I'm going to be archery mule deer hunting in Nevada probably. Oh, that's crazy. Jonathan, how did the time fly by that fast? But anyhow, thanks for being here. We are episode number 96 of Elk Talk Live, brought to you by GoHunt.com. Sign up for the Insider and get $50 of mad money, a gift card in their gear shop. And when you go there and you buy all your gear, when you check out, use promo code Randy, like when you're buying Gerber knives and Mystery Ranch backpacks and other stuff. When you check out with promo code Randy, they're going to discount everything by 10%. Because what do we say? We don't pay retail, and neither should you. So, a lot of really cool things that people have brought up on our Facebook and Instagram today. But there's a really big thing that happened about 4 hours ago. The Great American Outdoor Act passed Congress in June, passed the Senate in June. It goes over to the House of Representatives, and it passed the House of Representatives today. So to give you some perspective of how big of a deal this is to elk hunters, to public land users, I started working myself and all kinds of people, some who, it's been so long ago, some of them have passed on. But in 1998, I went to Washington, D.C., my first trip to lobby about public lands. And it was to permanently extend and fully fund the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which if you hunt, fish, ride a bicycle on a trail, play in a park, the odds are that fund has helped pay for some of your recreation. And so now it's passed the Senate, it passed the House today, and the president has promised he's going to sign it. So I can't even tell you how big of a deal that is. I look back as like 22 years ago. I and a whole bunch of other people, we were working on it back then. I didn't have any gray hair at that time. I didn't have any wrinkles. I was still a practicing CPA who was working every day. Man, that was a long time ago. But here we are. It passed. And here's what it's going to do. Here's how what the Land and Water Conservation Fund does. I'm going to try to give a little example here. So, have you ever seen like checkerboard maps where this piece is public, but that piece is private, and that piece is private? Well, a lot of times what we're trying to do is solve how do we get access across all this private to all this public. And this is just one example of how it works. Well, the Land and Water Conservation Fund is money set aside from offshore oil and gas royalties that is put in a fund for Congress to appropriate for projects that create access and solve all these difficult in-holding issues, by easements, public access easements, stuff like that. And if it passes, if the president signs it like he promised he has, this will be, so to give you an idea of how big of a deal it is, it's the same age I am. It passed in 1965, and it had authorized $900 million to go into that fund. Only one time in 55 years has the full $900 million went in there. Every other time, Congress has taken a bunch of that money, like the majority of it, and rerouted it to their other pet projects. Well, now, if this passes, that's where it's going, and that's what it's going for. Whew. More access. I like it. So, Tommy Weaver says, why did I switch to the evil empire of Yeti? Well, Tommy, Yeti is not the evil empire, first of all. I didn't switch to them, and Orion Coolers, who I used to use last fall, told me they're getting out of the hunting space. Well, if you're getting out of the hunting space, I'm not your guy. So good luck to them. I wish them nothing but the best. But I'm right here in the hunting space, and I'm staying here. So many people ask, what's with the Yeti coolers? So when that happened, I know the guys at Yeti because I work with them when I'm doing conservation projects here and there. Yeti is always there. Their brand is built on conservation, so I know those guys. And when I told them, yeah, I'm kind of leaving, the parting ways with Orion because they're getting out of the hunting space, Yeti's like, well, we'll send you a whole bunch of coolers. Well, they did. So that's it. No strings attached. Don't have an agreement with them. I'm just using their coolers. Maybe someday I'll have an agreement with them, but so I didn't switch. If someone else wants to leave, that's up to them. But I'm not leaving the hunting space. So, the Lame Trapper says he just listened to our marriage podcast and it helped both him and his wife a lot. I could get in trouble. That could be malpractice. So, for me to be given marriage advice. So, let's do some elk talk here, huh? I'm looking at the board over here, and I'm thinking about the fact that elk season opens in Nevada, in Utah, in 4 weeks. That is not very long. So if you have a bow, I would suggest you start shooting it. I have this new one, the Bowtech sent me, this Revolt. I haven't even got it set up yet. So, fortunately, I have my Realm from last year, and they're pretty similar. I'd be curious to know, maybe if you guys all comment, you'll tell me, those of you who are archery hunters, how many arrows a day do you shoot to practice? I shoot 9, and I have a 40, I better go the other way, 40, 30, 20-yard pins on my sight, my black gold sight. And because I have bad shoulders, the orthopedic surgeon said, Randy, you should keep it to less than 10 arrows in any shooting session. It does you no good after so many arrows because your muscles are fatigued. For me, I got all these problems in there. So I do 3 at 40, 3 at 30, and 3 at 20. That's 9. So I do my 9 right at breakfast, I do 9 for lunch, and I do 9 for dinner. And it seems to work for me. I'm just curious, do some of you get in on these, like, I stand out there and I shoot 40 arrows at one time? I was up at the Total Archery Challenge last weekend in Big Sky, and I was asking some other people that, and they're like, oh man, yeah, I shoot 50 arrows, no problem. I'm like, man, it just hurts my shoulders thinking about it. So Jason says he shoots 12 a day. Joe says he shoots 20 to 30. Muley says he shoots 6 a day. Whoa. Someone says they shoot between 75 and 100. Someone else shoots 200 to 300 a day, 7 days a week. Man, I'm a punk. I need to give the program here. So Chris says, yeah, Randy, it's 33 days to the Nevada elk opener. You cost me $1,200 this year. So what you're saying, Chris, is you took my tag, right? Because I wanted to go there this year. 41 days, Joe says, until it opens in New Mexico. Probably not too much more than that, or even less than that in Colorado and Idaho. Let's see. So Wyoming Hunter says he shoots 30 arrows a day. Jesse shoots 20 to 40 a day. So I shoot mine, let's see, 9, I shoot 27 a day. So, and some days I miss. I mean, like, okay, I had a lunch meeting, so I do my breakfast, dinner shoot. So, I just ask that because a lot of times I get asked questions and I'm trying to figure out where am I in the spectrum of what the norm is. You know, if I answer, I shoot 27 arrows, if somebody's, if everyone else says, no, I shoot over 100 a day, well, I need to change my game or rethink what I'm doing. But, so, Richard shoots 16 a day. That's cool. So, Randy, what arrows and what broadheads do I use for elk? Well, I use the same setup for everything. I don't change. I shoot 125 grain bone 2-blade broadhead. My arrows are full metal jackets. I have a 29-inch draw length, so when you add the nock, the insert, the broadhead, and the arrow itself, the fletchings, I think I'm at, when I measured it last, 502 grains, something like that, total weight. So, so this is a good question. What was the deciding factor for me to go with bone broadheads? Bone broadheads is, I don't know if Jonathan's got it up here on the screen, but I use the 125 grain, and I've shot Magnus, I've shot all kinds of them. I've always been a fixed blade guy. And I know in some states you can't even use mechanicals for elk or at all in some states. So I've always been a fixed blade guy. And when Jarrett sent me some to try, okay, screw them on. I mean, of every broadhead I've ever shot, there's always been a slight variation between field point and broadhead. It just, I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's just aerodynamics. But for me, these ones just absolutely went where they, there was no difference. And so then seeing how razor sharp they are, I mean, they are sharp as sharp gets. And then when you have some success with them, like I took my bison in Utah with that arrow, or that broadhead. I've taken javelina, trying to remember what else. I'm missing some stuff here, but anyhow, it's just really, really worked for me. So that's why I do it. I'm a pretty traditional guy, even though it's not quote unquote traditional gear. Maybe I should say I'm just old school. When it works, I just keep using it. All right. If Matthew Hudson's asking a question that if Jonathan looked at the calendar, I don't know if he looked at it today, but last night I made a change to the calendar. Matthew says, you always make time during elk season for hunting grouse. Would you do a dedicated grouse hunt episode? If you look on the calendar, we have a grouse episode on the calendar for this year. It's funny you asked that. Now, I'm not going to say it couldn't get bumped by something else, but no, it is on the docket. So we'll see. Someone's asking what's the price for the misprinted shirt today. We found a second misprinted shirt, so we're scared to sell the one because if we come up with another one, someone will be mad. Then one of the questions that came in on Facebook today has to do with how I set up my rifle scopes, because I just got this year's scopes from Leupold and the rifles from Howa, and I'm getting them set up. My buddy Mark, who's a gunsmith, all the triggers are getting set to the same exact, as it always is, 2.75 pounds. And I used to go to 2.5, but I have our guest hunters shoot quite a bit, and I found that 2.5 might just be a little bit too light because it would catch some of them, You want it to catch people a little bit off guard, but not like off guard. So the question is, when I set up my Leupold scopes, where do I put my zero? In other words, at what range is your hold dead on? And for me, I always do 100 yards. I know a lot of people will put their zero at 200 yards, 300 yards. For me, I just do it 100 yards. I know it's consistent. My dials, the CDS dials that you get on a Leupold scope, they're set. It's just march it up, march it back down, whatever. It's so easy. To me, I tell people CDS stands for click, dial, shoot, even though it's called a custom dial system. And then click with your rangefinder, set the dial, shoot. At normal hunting ranges, I prefer it over an MOA, any of that, any of those other systems. Okay. What kind of trekking poles do I use for elk hunting? I use the leaky cork light poles. The crew uses Sissy Sticks. So Sissy Sticks, a group made right here in Bozeman. Bryce and those guys. I've always used Lecky, however you want to pronounce it, Leki. And they work really, really good. What other ones we get? Oh, here's one. This is reason to talk about the Randy Newberg knives. As you know, Gerber's been promoting these heavily the last 2 weeks. I just checked. They're both in stock right now, but they're having problems keeping them in stock, not because of COVID or anything else. They're just selling faster than they thought, which, I'll be honest, kind of, I don't want to say it surprises me, but it does surprise me, because I was worried. I'm like, well, what if we only sell one knife and it's to my mother? So I'm really relieved that they're struggling to keep them in stock because of how many they're selling. So this person says, Randy, knife sharpeners. I'm buying your Gerber DTS, which is a dual tool system. And it's got the tendon tool on the back and then the main cutting blade there. And so he says, any recommendations for a packable size sharpener for in the field touch-ups? It depends on if you like a traditional steel like I do or a pull-through sharpener. But here's the deal. When we made this product, I told Gerber, or they asked me, what's the expected durability of this blade? In other words, how many elk do you want this blade to be able to handle before it needs resharpening? I said at least 3. So last year, I had what they call the T2 prototypes with me in British Columbia. I did my moose, I did my caribou, I came back here, and I did 2 elk and part of another. So after moose, caribou, and the better part of 3 elk, this was still really sharp. And the reason it's still really sharp is because of the quality of steel, but because the tendon tool, and if you go watch all these videos out on our YouTube channel, we show you how you use this tool to protect the integrity of this blade. And so you probably aren't going to need to bring your sharpener with you, but if you do, whatever you prefer, a pull-through, or I use a traditional steel. I just, that's what I grew up doing, so I use that. But the thing about these knives is if you go to gerbergear.com and use promo code Randy when you check out, this is a $60 knife at full retail. They're going to give you 20% off when you use promo code Randy when you check out. It's $48. And our goal when we started this was maybe we can get the price under $200. When I told them all the things that I wanted to solve with this, I'm like, this is going to be a $500 knife. Well, now retail is $60. You can get 20% off by going to gerbergear.com and using promo code Randy when you check out. And until August 19th, 10% of the proceeds are going to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. So, Let's see. I tried Gerber's website and lots of knives are out of stock. Well, I just tried it and they're in stock right now. Just before we got online, Anthony, I checked it and they're in stock. So you can go to their website or you can go to randynewberg.com/Gerber and it's right there. There, you can buy them right there also. And when you do that, when you go to randynewberg.com/Gerber, you go to the bottom and we've got 4 videos that you can download onto your phone. So when you're out in the field, you will have a gutless method video. You'll have a video about how to use the tendon tool and the serrated edge on this EBS to remove the hocks, how to debone it, and then how to remove the head. If you're doing a Euro mount, you can do the head through the Atlas joint. No saw required. So we show all of that and we make them available where you can download them right on your phone. So, let's see. Dave, thanks for being here again, man. Dave is here again and he's helping us put together this FAQ, this frequently asked questions. He's helping so many people. Appreciate it. So Dave asked the question about how many critters on the EBS blades before you replace the blades. Kind of the same thing. So the EBS exchange blade system comes with this little gizmo right here, and you got 3 different blades. We got the serrated blade that is the equivalent of the tendon tool. You do all your bone and hide and tendon and gristle and dirt with this so that it doesn't ruin the integrity of your task blade or your backstrap blade. So these are designed for 3 elk also. That is what the specs are. That we expect you should be able to do 3 elk under the gutless method if you use the serrated blade the way it's designed to take the tendons, the hocks, the Atlas joint, all the dirt and bad stuff, you know, where the thick leather is. And so I'm going to do this. I'm probably going to get hurt. You know how some of these scalpel blade, replaceable blade, disposable blade knives, how flimsy they are, right? They all crack and pop as quick as you tweak on them. I told Gerber that even though I'm kind of a candy-ass accountant, I don't want these to break. In other words, I want people to really lay the torque to these, and you can. They're not disposable blades. They're replaceable and they're resharpenable. The other part, and we have videos on all this right here. You see this little right there? It's retro-reflective. Not just reflective, but retro-reflective. And what retro-reflective means is when your headlamp hits that at night, it reflects back to the source of the light. So I no longer have an excuse for all of the knives that I have in the dark, have lost in the dark, up on the mountain while elk hunting. And so the idea is you should be able to get 3 elk out of these just before you got to do anything, and you can touch them up with just a pull-through sharpener. I'm just not a big fan of disposable. I mean, I've used them all. I've used every knife you can think of. And I started on this project with Gerber in 2017, May of 2017, so a little over 3 years ago. And that's how long it takes when you go start to finish. This wasn't just Gerber's engineers saying, let's do a knife and have Randy put his name on it. No, this was me starting from scratch with their entire team of designers and engineers, and this is what we come up with. There's some things that aren't on these knives by design. Hey, Jonathan, you got your fastball with you? No? Okay. Any of you who are sitting with a pocket knife right now, if you pull it out, you probably have a pocket clip on it. Well, when I see a pocket clip on a hunting knife, I think, you know what, an engineer is who designed that, not a hunter. Because when I'm up there on the mountain working on that elk at night, and I've got that in my hand and I'm just laying the torque to it for 2 hours, and that pocket clip is grinding into either my palm or into my thumb, I really get irritated. In fact, any company that sends me a knife, the first thing I do is pull the pocket clip off. So there's some things that aren't on here. Everything here on either of these, I can tell you, is with a purpose and by design. So anyhow, go to gerbergear.com and use promo code Randy when you buy it, and it's going to be $48 instead of $60. So let's see. Anything to keep in mind when using your elk knives for deer or other smaller animals? No, not really. I mean, you can do a deer with that easy. And that was one of the concerns that we talked about is, well, what are the deer hunters going to think about that? So what we did is you have this task blade, which is quite a bit shorter. So I suspect most deer hunters who don't do the gutless method, just do traditional gutting, they're going to use this task blade rather than this bigger backstrap blade. So that's the whole idea. Make sure that you use a tool like a tendon tool or a serrated blade to do all the dirty work. And if you do, your other blades will last a long, long time. And your work of cutting that meat and getting it home will be a whole lot easier. Your meat will be in better shape and it won't be as dirty, won't be as much hair, all that stuff. Let's see. I wouldn't try that. How do you protect your ears when firing your rifle at game in the field? Jim, that's a good question, and I don't. And that's why I'm right-handed this year. I was one of those unfortunate situations. Back in the 1970s, no one wore hearing protection. And so I shot all the time. By the time I was 25, the hearing in this ear, it's like I can hear this frequency and then it goes, can't hear anything, and then I can hear that frequency. Every audiologist, every doctor who looks at my hearing report says, you hunt or you shoot, don't you? I'm like, yep. Oh, I can tell. You must be right-handed. Yeah, your left ear is all messed up. So I'm not a good example for that. I know some people who, when they hunt, they carry like they're on a little cord, almost like a headphones. I know some people who wear the in-ear ones. The in-ear ones that I've tried before picked up too much wind noise. And so, yeah, I probably, I don't, I'm sorry to be a bad example, let's put it that way. All right. Will I ever hunt Oregon blacktail? I don't know. But like we've said in the past, today, we're getting quite a few questions about deer and other stuff. But for me, this is Elk Talk Live. So I don't mean to ignore your questions about antelope and bears and deer and stuff, but mostly I want to talk about elk hunting because that's what people come here for. So that's kind of how I'll stick to it. Randy, what does your bow shoot as far as feet per second? Have you tested it in a chronograph? Yes, I have, and it will go between 248, 250, 251, which is more than adequate. I'm pulling 62 pounds, 29-inch draw length. I don't, for me, I'm not looking for something that is super, super fast. I'm looking for something that works for bad shoulders, is going to be accurate, and, like I've said on past episodes, I've pulled my 50-yard pin. Because at my age, my eyes at 50 yards, this right eye, I'm starting to get a little blur out that far. 40, I'm still good. So at 40 yards, 250 feet per second with a 500 total grain arrow is going to kill everything I hit properly. It'll all be operator error if things don't go well. So someone says, Randy, why did you go with a Bowtech versus a Hoyt versus a Matthew or others? You know, I shot Hoyt bows for a while, and then I picked up a Bowtech one time, and the grip just fit my hand so dang well. This was a 350 Destroyer, so that was in 2010, and so I bought it. And so that's what I started using. I tried Matthews at the time, but their grip is a little wider grip, and I think when you get used to a certain grip, you just start building your form around that. So, and then after I used their bows, I think, 6 or 7 years, they reached out to me and said, hey, we see you're using our bows. Can we send you some? And I'm like, yeah. Hey, can we buy an ad in your platforms? Yeah. So, like just about all the product we use, I was using it and paying full retail before I had a relationship with them. So yeah, that's really how I came to Bowtech. I was out at Big Sky Archery here in Bozeman, Montana. Greatest archery pro shop I know of. And they're an authorized Bowtech dealer, and just how it went from there. But yeah, I paid full boat, full cash. So, let's see. Am I planning to hunt Idaho elk anytime soon? Yes, I'll do 2 elk hunts. One for me this year. Well, I found out today Marcus is going to do Idaho elk also. So it's me, Marcus, and Michael. All 3 of us have Idaho elk tags this year. You guys are going to be so tired of us coming and hunting in Idaho. You guys are going to say, get out of here. Get out of here. You people are driving me nuts. Someone says, have I ever hunted elk in Unit 8 in Arizona? Yep, I have. We got an episode that was shot in that unit. I'm not going to tell you which one, but if you look hard enough, you'll find it. And all the locals are like, oh man, I know exactly where that is. I've been in that canyon before. And then in that episode, we ran into so many people. Everyone's like, oh, I know where it is. So we saw them out there. But, oh well. Let's see. If I could sacrifice any employee for any tag, who would you sacrifice and what tag would you sacrifice them for? Oh, man. I'm not even going to go there. That's... I guess we could throw Kyler under the bus, couldn't we? He's our part-time intern. Oh, no, that wouldn't be good. Let's see. No, I'm not answering that one. So, one of the things you got to be thinking about right now, because we're getting a lot of questions about, I still want to go elk hunting this year. A couple people have asked, I've got the no tag blues. In other words, they didn't draw an elk tag this year. What would you do? Colorado has a leftover list that you can go there. You got to be paying attention. They issue it, I think it comes out on a Thursday or Friday, and you can buy them first come, first serve on Tuesday. Or it's weird. You really got to be on the ball. So there's some really good tags there. They get turned back. And then Colorado, you got over the counter for archery season, for second rifle and third rifle, for a whole lot of the units. Not all of them, but a lot of them in the western half of the state. You've got Idaho sold out, cross that off. You got Archery Roosevelt's in Oregon. You do have a few other Oregon general tags this year that are over the counter, but I think next year everything's going to a draw. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I know they're talking about it there. And then you got Utah. Those are really the remaining options. Montana's list for the return tags, because non-residents can return their tags, and that list, the deadline was sometime in June to get on the second kind of draw for return tags. That's sort of gone. That deadline is gone, and now they're getting ready to do that draw here pretty soon. So those are really the options that are left, and I hope that you go out and do it. So are the Idaho tags over the counter, or did you guys draw over the counter or draw controlled hunts? We have 2 over the counter tags. Marcus and I both got the archery, A tag. And then Michael drew a late rifle tag. So leave it to Michael. He's the luckiest guy. That guy, every time we put him in for a really hard tag, the first year in Wyoming he draws it, the first year in Idaho he draws it. So, oh well, what do you do? You know, some people got all the luck, and I guess good for him. Let's see. Utah General Bull tags are gone? Oh, I didn't know those were on a quota. I'm not sure about the spike only tags. Yeah, and that's another thing. Some of the hunts that you look into, they will be spike only. So a couple of Utah guys just chimed in that their tags are gone this year also. I mean, elk hunting, people want to go do it, and there's, you got to be on the ball, is the way I'd look at it. So someone says Idaho has 5 elk tags that go on sale 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I didn't know about that. Chris asks, ever hunt elk in the eastern United States? I would love to. All they got to do is draw a tag for me and I'll be there. Really the only state in the east I apply for is with Kentucky. So, what? So Randy asks, I've been hearing a lot of stories about Leupold lately, that they aren't doing any scopes, that they stopped making scopes. Is there anything going on with Leupold? No. They can't keep up with production is their problem. They're just running nonstop and they can't keep up. So no, there's nothing wrong with them. Okay, that's the deal. All right, some of the Idaho guys are chiming in here. Idaho is starting to sell their returned or turned back elk tags on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's interesting. Huh. Randy, do you think that the new elk management plan group in Montana will make any changes to the elk seasons in Montana? I seriously think they will. But remember, they're a group, an advisory group, so they'll come up with some ideas, and then that'll go to the department. Them and the Department of Fish and Game, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks will work on it, and then the politicians will jump in. They'll try to tweak it this way, tweak it that way. I hate to be so down and out on how the politicians exercise their influence. I joke, I say, if you want to have a PhD in wildlife management, all you got to do is get elected to the Montana legislature. And with it comes a PhD in wildlife management. So, not really, but they act like it is. Let's see. Randy, I've always shot lefty growing up and just found out my dominant eye is my right eye. Do I dare switch to righty shooting? Yes. Always shoot with your dominant eye. Always. I don't care if we're talking rifle, if we're talking bow, whatever. Yes. Always shoot with your dominant eye. Someone asked, do you know if Colorado has a turn back policy? Yes, they do. That's what I was explaining. You gotta be on the ball with that one though, because those guys in Colorado, there's guys who are just like, choom, choom, they're on it, choom. And let's see, who else we got? How often do I cape my elk kills? I try to do it most of the time when I take an elk. Because even if I don't have a single elk I've shot that I've done a shoulder mount. But I've taken a lot of the capes off them because I trade them to my taxidermists. If you're good at caping an animal, some taxidermists will trade you. They'll say, Randy, for those 2 elk capes, I'll do 1 or 2 European mounts for you. Cool. Easy enough for me. So I come from a trapping background, so I'm pretty handy with a knife and fur and everything else. So my taxidermist trusts that when you get to the tear ducts and all the other really tricky parts, the lips, that's something that takes a little practice. He's confident I'll do it right, and so he trusts me. Oh, here's the thing, if you haven't done it already, we're doing a contest out on our Instagram channel with Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. If you go out to our Instagram channel, Randy Newberg Hunter, or Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, you'll read the rules of how you go back and forth. They're giving away, it's the Wapiti Whacker, I think. Is that the one that I gave you, Jonathan? And the Black Magic Diaphragm. So if you want to get in on that, I think they're giving away this Friday. We're giving away a whole bunch of them this summer. Anyhow, I think the first one is this Friday. But if you want to get your calls, go to RockyMountainHuntingCalls.com and use promo code Randy and save 15%. So that'd be a way to save some money. Canatrek Boots wants you all to get a free pair of gaiters. So they just emailed us and said, hey, Randy, tell your audience that if they come and buy boots at Canatrek.com and use promo code Randy, we're going to give them a free set of gaiters, which that'll save you $75. Mystery Ranch backpacks, you can buy those at GoHunt.com, and when you check out using promo code Randy, you'll save 10% on your Mystery Ranch pack. Your black gold sight, your tight spot quiver, those are also at the GoHunt store. You can save 10% on those. I don't know if they carry ripcord arrow rests. I'm not sure, but anyhow, ripcord makes this possible also. So right now, some of you sent me a lot of emails in the last week saying, what are you doing to get in shape? I'm mostly trying to die of dehydration. Some of you aren't going to have much sympathy for me. What was it at your house yesterday, Jonathan? It was 86 out at my house. That's hot. I mean, I did a 2.5 hour hike, and I gained about, 1,800 feet of elevation, and I was carrying a 40-pound pack. I thought I was going to die of dehydration out there. I was sweating like a hillbilly out of hoedown, man. I was like, whew. And I know some of you who live in places where it's 100 degrees or 95 degrees or whatever are like, come on, Randy, really? But no, this is the time of year when I am really getting after it. This is when I get my feet in shape. And I know some people are probably thinking, your feet? What about your lungs and your heart? Well, those get in shape as the process of getting my feet in shape. I'd say when I'm having a problem in the hills, very often it's because my feet aren't in shape. And when I say my feet, I'm talking about the callus buildup. I'm talking about the fact that I haven't been wearing my boots enough with weight on my back. So when you're out hiking and you don't have weight on your back, how your feet compress and how the muscles have to work to keep the arch and everything intact, that's completely different with weight on your back versus no weight on your back. And then you start side hilling, uphill, downhill, whatever. Those kind of real life conditions, that's what saves my feet for elk hunting. So I'm really a big advocate of making sure that you are doing that, because so many people will go out, they'll go to the gym and they get their cardio and they get in pretty good shape. But they go out there, they throw 30 pounds on their back, or they do a 10-mile hike with a 60-pound pack back to where their camp is going to be, and their feet are mangled, and they can't hunt. So it's all these little things, and I tell people, look, I am not a gym rat. I'm an accountant, and I can still find enough time and enough ability to go out and get in decent enough shape to elk hunt. And so if I can do it, I would think just about everybody would be able to do it. I mean, maybe not, but a lot of that is just dedicating the time that if I have this elk hunt, I better dedicate the time to get ready for it. So that's, it's just disappointing when I see people who come out and it's like the elk hunt of the year, man, or the hunt of the year. It's this elk hunt, but their feet are just gonna let them down. I mean, sometimes it's maybe they got their feet in shape, but they had low quality boots. And I don't care what brand of boot you buy. It's kind of like many other things, right? You're gonna get what you pay for. And I do not skimp on my feet. That you only skimp on your feet one time. And what is it? What's the saying? Buy once, cry once. Well, you skimp on your feet and on your boots, you're going to probably cry 5 or 6 times because your feet are going to hurt that bad. Loophole.com also makes this possible. I forgot to talk about them today. Really lucky. Someone said, I watched your episode where Uncle Larry shot the wrong one. Yeah, he did. I wonder how many people watched the episode, Jonathan, that you recorded last week of me dying of the New Mexico dysentery. That was supposed to be an elk hunt, but I got so sick I couldn't do it. Imagine having a Unit 17 late archery season, like peak rut, a tag that everybody would want that tag. And you end up with a stomach problem because of some 5-alarm chili. And it didn't work out well. Not good at all. But let's see. Will the 25-06 work for elk? Yes, it will. Surely will. You get a high quality bullet, it'll work. Especially if you put it in the right place. Let's see, do I use several different CDS caps for different elevation, or how I go about that when I change elevation? No, I sight it in for 100 yards at what I know to be, and elevation is very, it doesn't make that big of a difference at normal hunting distances. And I'm saying 400 yards and under, and most our shots are 300 and under. If that cap, that CDS dial was etched for 2,000 feet elevation versus 6,000 feet elevation, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But once I do it, I do go and plug it all into my ballistic chart, and I look to see, and I know what the adjustments have to be. Because I might be going to Colorado. Okay, I know in Bozeman I'm at 5,000 feet, and my CDS dials, this is how they're working. I'm going to be at 10,000 feet in Colorado. I know how much. I just look and say, okay, we're talking, 3/4 of an inch, whatever difference. Not enough that I really need to worry about it or let it distract me. So, yeah, I take it. We probably shouldn't have brought up the New Mexico dysentery disco. Let's see. Am I going to redeem myself from the New Mexico Phase 2 problem and go back to that same spot? No, it's under, I think that New Mexico piece of ground is probably now a Superfund site, thanks to that. Would you quit laughing, Jonathan? Jeez. Every time I tell some of these stories, the guy laughs at every story I tell. He's the camera guy, and I'm supposed to be holding a straight face, and he's over there doubled over laughing. So, let's see. Randy, how important is it that you use ammo from the same production lot as used for sightings in the scope? Some people will say it's super, super important. And the reason being is that some ammo companies, you have some significant differences in the velocities, or they use a slightly, maybe they aren't consistent in what primers they use or what powders they use. Nosler, I use their ammo, and when I chrono it, batch for batch for batch, it's like no difference. I mean, they're even bullet to bullet in the same batch, your chrono is going to give you slight differences. But I don't know any, when I do it, I don't see any big deviations. Like they already sent me this year's ammo, and I know it's from different batches than last year, right? So when I go out there, we'll have the chrono set up, and I'll be looking, all right, this is what I have in my notes in last year from, 308, 165 grain nozzler partition. All right, this is what I was getting last year, 2,820 feet per second average. All right, I'll do the same with the batch this year. I bet you it won't be, if it deviates at all, it'll be 1 to 2 feet per second, if that. So, I just don't worry about it. Randy, have you ever had a bullet not go off on a trophy animal? Yes, we had to cut that segment. The primer dimpled. This was a long time ago. This was, oh man, a long time ago. Heard click. Antelope is still standing there. I thought, what? Don't tell me I didn't put one in the chamber. Pull it out, round flies out. Yeah, antelope runs off. I ended up killing it later, but go grab that bullet that I ejected, dimple in the primer, didn't go off. So, only time I ever had it happen. So, I guess if you shoot enough, it's going to happen. Randy, if a bull responds to your bugle, do you respond with a mature bugle or a younger bull or a cow call? How do I make that decision? My default is I'm going to respond with another really aggressive bugle. And that's just the way I do it. I would go watch Corey Jacobson's course. He's got University of Elk Hunting course. And it's really, really good he really focuses on these setup kind of questions like this. He's got a promo code. So elk101.com, it's University of Elk Hunting. And I can't remember if the promo code is Hunt Talk, Elk Talk, Randy. Try Randy first. That usually works. But it's a really, really good course and goes into so much depth and detail about those setup kind of things, especially for archery hunting. Corey's expertise is, going archery hunting with him, with the calling, it's like to such a higher level that I really feel inadequate when I'm hanging out there. Let's see. How many days do you recommend for a minimum elk archery hunt? I would try to do at least 6 days. If I'm trying to fill one tag, if there's a group of you, I'd be working on about 10. It's just hard. Trying to fill that one tag is hard enough. Trying to fill 2 is really hard. Do I notice a difference in how fast elk go down when going from a 308 to a 300 Win Mag, assuming good shot placement? Yeah, probably. I mean, with good shot placement, depending on what you're talking about, like if I shoot them in the lungs, I don't notice any difference. A hole through both lungs, it's a 30 caliber bullet. Same hole, whether it's a partition, an AccuBond, an E-tip, pretty much the same effect. Now, if I hit them high in the shoulder or it's a quartering shot and goes in behind this shoulder and hits that shoulder, yeah, that 300 Win Mag is moving faster. It's got more energy. And usually I'm using a slightly bigger bullet, like 180 grain versus a 165. So it is going to have some differences. But for me, not that much that I worry about it. That's why you see so many of the elk I take is with the 308. It's it's just how it is. Would I ever hunt with the meat eater guys? Oh yeah, we're always talking. Like today, I had coffee with Mark Kenyon of Meat Eater. Last week, I had coffee with Giannis of the Meat Eater. So we talk all the time, and just I don't. it's really hard for people to see it. Well, let me restate that. If people saw our calendars and how complicated our calendar is, and I'm sure theirs is the same, trying to match it up anymore is just about impossible. Almost impossible. Steve and I tried to hunt Alaska Sitka blacktails one time. And in that process, we had to cancel it because those jokers went and got trichinosis from a bear just before we were going to go on that hunt. Steve calls me, he's like, hey man, I got some bad news. We're all sick. We're going to have to cancel the hunt. So we canceled and ended up, our platforms since then, both of them have grown considerably and we just haven't been able to get it done. Randy, do you have a promo code for Sitka gear? No, I don't, but I've offered. I've told them, if you give me a promo code, we're going to go to town here. I don't know that they'll ever give me one. I wish they would, but they sell plenty of product without giving me a promo code. Holy cow, where did all these questions come from, Jonathan? Do I use the new Howa 1500 or a different one? No, I've been using the Howa 1500 since, as I always say, Moby Dick was a minnow. That's how long I've been using their 1500. What bullet would I recommend for moose in my 30-06? I got my first BC moose today. I'd probably use 180 grain Nosler partition. That's what I'd use. Scott Doherty, woohoo, just raised $200 in Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation donations for my birthday goal. Yeah! Good stuff, Scott. You know what that does? The way RMEF can leverage your money with other agencies and partners, really your $200 becomes almost $1,000. And the ability for them to then use that to preserve, conserve, and acquire habitat and access is crazy. The amount that they can do. It's just, man, it's so good. Thanks for doing that, by the way. Let's see. Have I ever hunted elk in California? Nope, probably never will. Just because I don't apply there. All right. Tony, I'm glad you asked this, man. Tony Shoemaker. Yeah, I was doing an interview today with, oh man, what's Chris's website? Man Makes Fire. And he asked me the same question. Does this tendon tool do a really good job around the burr when you're trying to get the cape, when you're caping an animal? Oh, it is, as Grandpa would say, slicker than deer guts on a doorknob, man. That tendon tool gets underneath that and it's just like, done. Go to the other one, done. Or you're there with your knife, right? Oh, or you're there with your little scalpel blade. Ping. Oh, get out another one. Ping. That tendon tool, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. It works really, really slick. From an elk, I've used it on elk, moose, caribou. I don't think I caped. Oh yeah, I caped my deer last year. Jonathan filmed me shooting a Wyoming mule deer last year. So, yeah. So I think my wife needs a new hunting knife. Brian, I'm with you, man. I mean, you could tell her, hey, you even got 20% off out at Gerber. I mean, what the heck? How is Montana, Northwest Montana for elk? You know what? There is probably no more challenging elk hunt in all of Montana, maybe all of the Rockies, than Northwest Montana. For a couple of reasons. The numbers are way down. It is thick, it is steep, it's nasty, and I'll throw northern Idaho in with the same analysis or same comments. It's really, really tough. If that's where you're going, I don't mean to rain on your parade, but you are in for a really tough elk hunt. It's tough, and I only I just have to say it that way. So Victoria says, Randy, will you tell Matt that he needs to take the trash out after your show? Hey Matt, if you're listening, you better take the trash out, or it could have a serious impact on your hunting. It's just saying, man. You know, don't do anything that messes with your hunting opportunity. Okay, I'm taking the trash out when I get home tonight. The trash gets picked up at my house tomorrow morning. That's why I get to hunt so much. Hey Morgan, look at there. My nephew Morgan is like, hey Uncle Randy, how you doing? I'm great, Morgan. I hope you're still up. You were one of the first questions. I'm sorry about that. Jeez. What kind of uncle am I? Man. I feel bad now. I feel like I've missed the boat here. All right. What do we got? This is a ton of questions tonight, guys. Holy cow. Randy, have you ever used sheep feet? I haven't. And I'm getting ready to do a podcast with my buddy and fanatic elk hunter, traditional archer, podiatrist, doctor, Bill Wilshire. He makes these custom orthotics for me. And you might look at them and say, man, Randy, that's like really a big thing to put in your boot or your shoe. And it is. But you see all that huge buildup right there and on my heel? Old football injury. You have a posterior tibial tendon that comes like this and comes from the back of your heel and connects to your arch. In my junior year, that detached in a football game, and I never got it fixed until after basketball season the next spring. Well, this whole arch collapsed. When they reattached it, they had to cut some of the tendon. So this foot is flat as a pancake if I don't have an orthotic. And the reason I pull that out and show you is if you're having foot issues, I would suggest you go to a podiatrist who understands all these things related to feet problems, because foot problems start creating knee problems that start creating back problems. I was told that I would have back surgery by, well, I went to the ortho for my back because it was giving me so much grief. This was in 2001 or 2. He said, oh, you'll be getting surgery in 2 years. You've got degenerative disc disease so bad. I'm like, well, doc, don't be buying your family new cars thinking I'm getting back surgery. So between my buddy Bill and my physical therapist Julie, they got everything back in place. And Bill, I call him Bill, I should say Dr. Wilshire. He's a great guy. He's like, Randy, trust me on this. We're going to get that built up. We're going to take care of this. We're going to get your foot from pronating. Right now you're pronating, like kind of your ankle is sliding in like this. It changed my back to where my whole stride, everything was like, wow. I had no idea that having bum feet like that could affect your back the way it did, but it was. And now it's going great. Yeah, hey, Andy and Wild Hunter, you know what? Quit making fun of my old man shoes, okay? Why does everyone who's young have to give me grief about my shoes, man? Dang. No matter what I do, you can't catch a break around here. All right. Let's see. Randy, how's the llama? When are they releasing the llama naming? Oh, Gerber gear. Tomorrow they start it. I think the video goes out tomorrow. The llama that I bought from Bo Beatty, we're going to run a 2-week contest where you get to pick a name for the llama. And I think how they're doing it, there's a website. It'll all be out there. That if you use, or they use your name, one of the names you pick, you get some prizes from Gerber. And then once they have the finalists, they're going to have like this social media voting contest. And the winner, whose ever name gets picked, is going to be, I don't know what all they got going on there, but they're telling me that people are going to want to win that contest. So, let's see. We don't give out unit numbers. Sorry about that, folks. Never do that. Never swallow an elk diaphragm call. Jason says so. Are you just saying that for a friend, Jason, or is that there's probably two pains to swallowing your diaphragm call. One when it goes down your throat, and then one when you dispose of it. So Randy, I just came from your field dressing elk video. Is your new knife the newer version of the scalpel that you used? Yeah, one of them is, it's not a scalpel. We went through it. You'd have to go watch. We spent 10 minutes earlier in the video, but the EBS is kind of an equivalent, but it's beefier, heavier. These knives were built for elk hunting. Think about it. Most of the products that we use were made for deer hunting, because that's the big segment of the audience, and they tell you this, oh, you elk hunters just use it. Well, no. I wanted knives built for elk hunters, and if you deer hunters want to use it, it'll work really good. And I'm a deer hunter. But that's just, I think elk hunters need their own products. So that's why we did it that way. All right, there you go. So Jonathan just pulled it up on the screen there. Let's see, we got to have a couple more good ones. What's going on here, folks, is Jonathan's over there copying and pasting him, and then my son Matthew is at his house, and he's copying and pasting. So there are so many questions here that I can't even come close to what it is. Jesse from New Mexico says, hello, Randy. I'm stoked about your recent partnership with Alpaca Rafts. Have you had the opportunity to float the Forager? Yes, I have. I love that raft. It's the most ideal raft I know of for a solo float hunt, for an entire elk, possibly even a bull moose. Yes. I love the craft, but should I be nervous about the zipper? Nope, I wouldn't. And if you buy an Alpaca raft, use promo code Randy 2020. They made us put a 2020 on that. I don't know why. I think you save 10 or 15%. I'm trying to remember what the percentage is that you get off. But anyhow, we're plotting our strategy of what are the hunts we're using our Alpaca rafts on this year. We're pretty excited about that. That is going to be fun. Shane Adams, did you get a new truck for this fall? Yep, I bought a Ford Raptor. A 2019, used. Some guy was in over his head or something, and he sold it for El Cheapo. I bought it with 800 miles, and it spent 3 weeks in the shop out of the first 3 months I had it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's not a sign of things to come. So, Randy, ever hunt the Sweetgrass Hills? Nope, never have. It's a place here in Montana. So, let's see. Have I ever hunted Unit 34 in New Mexico? Nope. Randy, you look like you're in a lot of pain sometimes when you're elk hunting. What exactly is your liver condition? It's called not having a portal vein. The main vein that comes in the bottom of your liver, about that big around, I don't have one. So all the blood goes around my liver, except the little bit that comes in the back from the splenic vein. So for all of you, it's called portal vein thrombosis, or there's portal hypertension, all kinds of things. PVT is what most people call it. But if you can think about this, I get about 25 to 30% of my blood actually gets filtered. The rest just keeps going around. So if you only filtered 30% of the oil in your car, your engine wouldn't last very long. So that's the deal with my liver. So if I look, sometimes I look kind of puffy. A lot of times the comment people make is he drunk, man? He looks drunk. I don't drink. I can't drink because of my liver condition. It's not because I'm drunk. It's because my liver's flared up and I've got a really high toxin load and I'm not doing well. So hopefully we won't scare Jonathan with any of that this year. Last year was a pretty good year. I took care of myself. So, knowing that it's a full moon near opening day of archery season, and given an option to hunt when you can or when you want, would you hunt the opener or would you wait until September, mid-September, or around a new moon? I'm hunting as late in the season as I can and I don't care about moon phase. I know people get all worked up about it. It makes no difference in what the rutting activity is. They're still got to rut because it's a photo period thing. They got to drop the cows. You know, the cows got to drop the calves in late May, early June. So their gestation period, you go back to there, that's going to be the peak rut. Well, I want to hunt when the temperatures are less likely to be high. Because what will really screw up your hunt more than moon phase is 90-degree temperatures. The later in September, the less likelihood I'm going to have that. That's for me is one of the biggest reasons for picking later dates. I'll take later dates with what's considered a screwed up moon phase before I'll pick early dates than having a perfect, quote unquote, perfect phase. Let's see. Do I ever plan on elk hunting in Oregon? I sure do. It's all up to Matthew, my son, to get that sorted out. I know, Corey. Someone instantly says, your buddy Corey says that moon phases matter. I know. We're friends, but that doesn't mean we got to agree on everything. You know? He doesn't like ice cream either. So, heck with him. This is a good one. Randy, how do you prep for a sudden thunderstorm when on top of a mountain? You can't prepare for that. In the West, we get all of a sudden just like these. Here comes a thunderstorm out of nowhere. You just gotta follow all the protocols of what you do in a lightning storm, right? You squat down, you stay away from each other, you try to find a low spot, you don't stand by any trees. Usually what I do is if I can find a rock ledge or something, I go right underneath that. I just squat down, wait it out. I hate it though. I hate lightning. Do not like it. Someone says, Randy, wow, elk hunting in a Raptor. That's a change. Yep, it is. What upgrades are you adding? Okay, he lists them. Yeah, I already got the ARE topper. I got the ARE rack. I'm getting the headwater seat covers. I've got the WeBoost cell phone booster. Gonna get a worn winch and bumper on it. And so that's what it'll have. Randy, have you ever thought about hunting Midwest whitetail? Yeah, I go there occasionally. I've done it. I've done Iowa. I've done Kansas 3 times. But we do Western hunting. Our audience, it's those of you who participated in our surveys in June, right? We did all those surveys. 10 lucky winners got to split. It turned out to be almost $9,000 prizes. What they all told us is what we kind of knew about content. They want elk, and more elk. So that's what we're going to keep doing. Randy, do you believe in scent killer? Nope, I don't. Not at all. Not for elk hunting. It might work in the Midwest in a tree stand or whatever, but it doesn't work for elk hunting. So, Randy, is Bo going to team up with you any this year? That's the hope. He's on the docket for 3 hunts with us. We'll see. We hope so. Let's see. What's a good last couple questions? All right. I just got my first elk rifle, and most people think I've made a mistake by choosing a 300 Win Mag as my caliber. This is Skip put this one in here. I don't know why they think that's a mistake, but I was wondering your best tips for zeroing and what is the best range for that caliber. Zero it at 100. If you have dials, you know, I use the Leupold CDS dials. You'll kill every elk out to 500 yards with that if you make a good shot. And you can shoot it even further if you want, but 300 Win Mag is like elk medicine of the highest degree. I mean, a lot of elk have been killed on our show with the 300 Win Mag. So have some antelope, and so have some deer, and so have some moose and caribou, and so. Let's see. Will a 270 get the job done for an elk? Well, my first 5 elk all died with a 270 with 150 grain nodular partition, so I think so. I don't think that the elk got the memo when people say, "Oh, I wouldn't use a 270 on that." I would. In fact, I wouldn't hesitate tomorrow to go grab one of my 270s out of my rack and go elk hunting with it. No, wouldn't even blink. So I'm not sure where some of that stuff comes from. I don't know really. So someone asked this question, and it's kind of what we do with every product. Randy, why did you switch from a Nissan Titan to a Ford Raptor? Every 2 years I go buy a new truck because I just beat the tar out of them, and I can't afford to have a breakdown. My personal cars, like my Honda Pilot, has 160-some thousand miles on it. I drive them into the dirt, other than ones that I absolutely have to get from point A to point B. I can't have a breakdown because we have all this money invested in every episode. So I bought 5 Titans. Every time I bought those 5 Titans, I went and test drove every competitor and said, which one works best for what we do? It was a Titan. So I scratched a really big check for a Titan every time. Finally, after that, Nissan came and said, here, we want to give you this one to use for 2 years. Beat the tar out of it. So I did and sent it back to them. And so I needed a truck after that. And so I went and did the same exact process. So I got to scratch a really big check for a Ford Raptor, a used Ford Raptor. I wouldn't have scratched a check for a new Ford Raptor. I'm a tightwad. I am not going to pay all that money for a brand new Ford Raptor because they're really expensive. But this guy took a serious cleaning on it, and I'm like, for that price, yeah, I guess I'll buy it. And it met. So my guess was it was going to be the truck that would suit our needs. Maybe it won't be. If it won't, you'll know because I'll sell it and I'll go buy something else. So it's interesting with trucks, right? You're a Chevy guy, you're a Ford guy, a Dodge guy. The Tundra guys crack me up. So Jason, you're out here saying should have got a Tundra, should have got a Tundra. I think if you ask just about every serious off-road person or person who beats the heck out of a truck for the things I do anyhow, the Tundra rates as one of the lower trucks, which completely surprises me because the Tacoma in its class always rates as one of the highest. And we've got 2 guys here driving Tacomas, and I'm impressed as heck with them. I would bet if Toyota took what they know of the Tacoma and they made a Tundra as good as the Tacoma, that's what I would have ended up with. But their Tundra doesn't stack up. And they're rebuilding it. I know they're coming out, I think the 2021, they're redoing it, and I bet you they're gonna kill it with that 2021. But I test drive them every time. But every time, they don't even make the final 3. So. Bodie, at least it isn't a Honda Ridgeline. Boy, I'll agree with you there. Every time we get into trucks, it's like such a distraction. Is the Raptor a Gen 1 or Gen 2? It's a 2. I shouldn't even start talking about trucks for elk hunting because it goes downhill. So let's see. All right. Yeah, someone says elk calibers are kind of like muscle cars. There are no losers. You know, that's a pretty good way to put it. I kind of like that. I should have answered it that way. So I'm going to try to find the best question to wrap it up with. Let's see. This won't be the last one. But Jason says, Randy, I'm looking at getting a new loophole spotting scope. How do you like the SX4 Pro Guide spotting scope? I like it. For the price, it's really, really good. The SX5 is more. And, you know, in optics, you get what you pay for. It's really good. And if you buy it at Go Hunt, so go to gohunt.com, their gear shop, I think on the, try promo code Randy or try promo code DQ. No, really, I'm serious. I think on our Leupold products at Go Hunt, I think the promo code is DQ, and you're going to get a discount. Oh, gosh, I don't know why that would be a question. You guys, quit it, man. These guys are trying to get me divorced or arrested. I don't know. Why are you guys asking me some of these questions? Let's see. Do I have any options of using a muzzleloader in my future? You know, we've thought about it, but I'm not sure. Every year we think about it, but we end up not doing it. Let's see. Last one. Oh, yeah. Grizzly bears. No. Josh is like, Idaho is so steep and full of grizzly bears. Move along. We did, remember, 2 weeks ago, Jonathan, that we did the whole grizzly bear hunt in grizzly country here 2 or 3 episodes ago? So after that, I got a bunch more questions. So Corey Jacobson and I, in our Elk Talk podcast, we did another podcast, and it was all about hunting grizzly bears in elk country. Let me restate that. Hunting elk in grizzly bear country. See, I'm going to get thrown in jail. Someone's going to say, oh, you're hunting grizzly bears, huh? So, no. All right. Where did that one go? I saw one good final question here. Dang it, I lost it, but I'll find it here. In the interim, let's make sure that we remember that Go Hunt is who makes this possible. Where did it go? Use promo code Randy at just about all of these companies. Go Hunt, Gerber Gear, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Canatrek, yeah, all those. Leupold, they don't have a promo code, but go buy your stuff from them. Same with Bowtech, Black Gold, Tight Spot, Ripcord. Where did you put that question? Was it Matthew or was it Jonathan who put it out there? Boy, this is a hard one. This one's going to make me think. Randy, what is your most important advice on equipment after footwear? It's not equipment, it's right here. It's your mind. Corey Jacobson and I were talking about this the other day, and we get tons of questions about our Elk Talk podcast. We have a submit your question here. And so many people send us questions about gear. And I get the idea about gear. You know, people want to have gear that hopefully makes them more effective. But he and I both worry that elk hunters are trying to avoid the hard work of reading and researching. I mean, if I had all the time back I have spent reading about elk, learning about elk, asking biologists, talking to scientists, range managers, that was all to invest in this piece of equipment right here. And I don't want people to think that buying gear is a shortcut to that, because none of that stuff is going to help you consistently find elk. Gear is not to help you consistently find elk. And that's the biggest reason people fail, is because they don't consistently know where to find elk out on the public lands. The gear stuff after that is to make you more comfortable. So if you're more comfortable, maybe you'll be able to hunt longer and harder. Okay, you're out there and you got the elk on the ground, things like this. You're gonna do a better job of taking care of the meat. You get a great mystery ranch pack. I'm going to get the meat out of there easier. I'm not going to kill myself doing that. Okay, my camp, all the camp stuff we use, your rifles, your bows, all that. Okay, I'm going to make a better shot. I'm going to be more proficient, stuff like that. But the actual understanding of getting elk in your field of view on a regular basis, like every time you go out, you're confident, I'm going to see an elk today. That is all about this piece of equipment right here. And that's why you sense I'm hesitant to answer the question the way it's been phrased. I don't want people to think that there is a way that gadgets and gizmos are going to give you a shortcut to elk knowledge. And elk knowledge isn't acquired by just reading. It's also acquired by making a lot of mistakes. Ask any successful elk hunter, and just about all of them have spent a lot of days failing. Messed up this encounter, screwed that up, hunted over here where there weren't any elk. I spent 3 days there. What was I thinking? They were over there, or they were down here. That kind of failure is not really in the true sense failure. It's just learning. And as quick as I decided that everyday elk hunting that I didn't feel my tag was learning, was a new experience, was something I could build on, I started looking at it that way. And at night I get back to camp, I'm like, all right, what did I learn today? Well, I screwed this up. I didn't do that. So here is more important than any gadget, any gizmo. So I know that's probably not the question, or not the answer to the question that you'd asked, but I really want people to think about it in that context. You'd be way better off investing in your skill set, your experience, your knowledge than any piece of equipment. So anyhow, folks, I appreciate y'all being here. See you next week. Are you going to be here next week, Jonathan? Don't you need a vacation or something? He's like, I don't know. He'll want a vacation after hunting season because he's going to be on the road for about 80 days in a row. He'll be wanting a vacation then. So, but really appreciate y'all being here. Hopefully you'll support all the companies that make this free content possible. They are here because they want to have a connection to you, and that connection comes in just making content free. And so Go Hunt, Leupold, Bowtech, Gerber, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, Kenetrek, Mystery Ranch, Black Gold, Ripcord, Tight Spot, Randy Newberg. Go to shoprandynewberg.com, use promo code Randy, and there's always some deal going on out there for t-shirts and hats. But have a great day. Great evening. See you next week.